Hi guys, it's Tamara. Thank you for coming back to my channel, and thank you so much for coming here on a Monday. I know Mondays are hard for most of us, but today's topic, we're going to talk a little bit about three major symptoms that you have experienced some kind of traumatic relationship with your family, your parent, or even your caregiver, someone who has taken care of you, and somebody that you trusted to be there for you at all times. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. All right. So thank you so much for coming back to my channel. For those who are subscribed, for those who are not and are new, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button over there on the side so that you can stick around with us on my channel. On this channel, we talk a lot about mental health topics, but the foundation of it is always trauma. And so I'd like to reiterate that point throughout all my videos, just so that you'll be reminded that, okay, there's a trauma foundation to all of these topics. We're not just talking about psychology, we're talking about psychology with a trauma-based focus. So the benefits for you in today's video is that you're going to learn about three things that you're likely to experience if you've been in a traumatic relationship with your family, your caregiver, or your parent. So I talked a little bit on Friday about a concept known as flying monkeys. And the whole idea behind that is that there is an abusive person who is instrumentally using other people or other things like the system. And I'm going to post that video up here for you, to control you. They're using something to control you because they're not going to do it directly themselves. So they're looking for ways to use other things as an instrument. So let's say if you're in that kind of a situation with your parent, your caregiver, your family, I want to point out three things that you're likely to experience as a result. Okay. The first thing is something that I talked about last week as well, and that is codependency. I always define codependency as a fusion, right? It's a fusion of personalities. It's a fusion of thoughts and beliefs and feelings to a point where your emotions and your thoughts are excluded. You don't have the ability to hang on to your identity because it's been stolen or submerged by the codependent relationship. So codependency is one thing that you are likely to experience, because if you're in a relationship where you're not getting that reciprocal love and compassion and care and all of that good stuff that needs to be reciprocal, you're likely going to continue to have a deep-seated need. You're going to be wounded, right? You're going to need some kind of direction and help on how to manage a relationship, because if you're in a codependent relationship, you don't know who you are, and you don't know whose emotions and thoughts are yours and whose emotions and thoughts aren't yours. So codependency can really get you stuck in some holes and really put you on a lifetime journey of confusion. The next thing that's likely to happen to you is dissociative disorders. Now, you're all familiar with dissociative identity disorder. I talked a lot about this on my channel a few months ago. If you go back into my video history, you will find the video series on dissociative identity disorder. I was using the term multiple personality interchangeably because multiple personality disorder is a term that a lot of lay people understand, and they've heard of it more than dissociative identity disorder. So if you go back in my video history, you will find that series and those videos. But you're likely to have a variety or a varying degree in intensity. My God, I can't talk today. You're likely to have symptoms of dissociative identity disorder at varying degrees. So let me name a couple. The first is dissociative identity disorder, and that's when you're split off and segmented in character and personality. You know, you may be Billy over there, you may be Tommy over there, and you may be Kevin, right? So all of those people, those three people really are one, which is you, but they've split off into different characters. And so you might dress different, look different, behave different when you say, I'm Kevin today, I'm Tom today, I'm Billy today. It's a really interesting psychological concept. And although there's a lot of skepticism about it in the field of psychology, I think there's a varying degree of it that makes a lot of sense. We need further research. So that's one part of dissociative identity disorder or dissociative disorders. The next one is what's called dissociative fugue. Dissociative fugue, and I'm going to put that over here because it's really hard to figure out what I'm saying. Basically, the idea behind that is that you dissociate. You pull away from reality in your consciousness, in your emotions, in your thoughts, and in your behaviors. You pull away in such a way that you lose your identity, you lose who you are, you lose what you're supposed to be doing. Some people have literally gotten behind the wheel and driven off to a different state just because they didn't realize that, wait a minute, that is my house, that is my car, and that is my child. They don't recognize that because they've dissociated from reality. This is reality. They've pulled away from reality so far that they literally believe that they are someone absolutely different from what you know them to be. And it's not their identity has changed or their mentality. It's the simple fact that they have amnesia. They don't remember amnesia. They don't remember that they are married with 2 children and they live on the south side of the city. They do not know who they are. And I've literally heard of stories. I've never seen a client with this disorder, but I have heard a colleague talk about an individual that she believed had this disorder. And it's frightening because everybody was calling her and saying, you live here, where are you going? And she says, I don't know who you people are. And so it's a splitting away from reality, but it's also a splitting away of one's identity. All right. The next one is complex trauma. Did I mention the other one? Yeah, I said dissociative fugue, dissociative identity disorder, and amnesia. So those are the 3 things that you're likely to experience under the umbrella of dissociation. Okay. The next is complex trauma, and I talked a lot about this in 2 previous videos. If you want to go ahead and take a look at that, I'll post it right up here for you. I talked about complex trauma and what it is, and you want to think of it in terms of 2 things. One is chronic and one is acute. Acute complex trauma is a few weeks, and chronic complex trauma is a few weeks to a few months. And the idea behind complex trauma is that the trauma was continuous. It was continuous on multiple occasions. It didn't just happen, one traumatic event there, one traumatic event there, one traumatic event there. It was continuous. So sexual abuse for 15 years by your father, physical abuse for 19 years from your husband. It was continuous and it had different layers to it. And so that's what creates the complexity of complex trauma. There's layers, right? And the intensity is huge and the duration of time is pretty huge. So complex trauma really does require us to have a knowledge and a skill of how the body and the mind works, okay? So these are 3 things that you are likely to experience when you are dealing with trauma and severe abuse. Thank you so much for being in this video with me today, guys. If there's something in this video that rang true for you, I encourage you to go ahead and share that with us in the comment section below appropriately, as you know, obviously, as you always do. I encourage you to do that. I think it stimulates conversation, and I love to see you guys interact, and I love interacting with you. So if you have a question or if you have a story, let me know in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up, guys, if you would, if it was helpful to you, and I will see you on Friday, I believe, with another video. All right, bye-bye.